Welcome to the Bookworm Duo, where we explore a variety of books. Let's get started.
Okay, sounds good.
Today, we're taking a deep dive into Verity,
Oh, okay.
a suspenseful thriller by Colleen Hoover.
I'm excited.
We'll be walking through the events of this twisted tale, so if you haven't read it yet, be warned, spoilers ahead.
Yeah, definitely lots of twists and turns.
It's a book that grabs you from the very first page
Oh, yeah.
and doesn't let go.
Absolutely.
Hoover masterfully builds suspense, keeping you guessing until the very end.
Right, and she's known for that, right? Like, you never really know what's going to happen next.
The story begins with Lowen Ashley, a
Right.
struggling writer in Manhattan.
Okay.
She's just witnessed a horrific accident.
Oh, wow.
A man fatally struck by a vehicle.
Oh, gosh.
It's a jarring start, and this encounter unexpectedly leads her to Jeremy Crawford,
Okay.
whose wife Verity Crawford is a famous author.
All right. So we're setting the stage here.
Yes, we are. Okay, cool. This chance meeting is so crucial because it sets the entire story in motion.
It does, yeah.
Lowen, who was seeking anonymity in the city, is suddenly thrust into this intense personal situation.
Yeah, it really highlights how, like, life can change in an instant.
Right, absolutely. It's almost like fate intervened.
It does feel that way, doesn't it?
Lowen, who's struggling financially, is then offered an incredible opportunity to co-author the remaining books in Verity's successful series.
Wow, that's a huge opportunity.
Right.
But there's got to be a catch, right?
The catch. Verity is severely injured and unable to write.
Ah, okay, yeah.
So this is where the moral and ethical dilemmas start to emerge.
Right?
Is it right for Lowen to step into another author's shoes, even if that author is incapacitated?
Yeah, yeah. It's a complex question that really gets you thinking.
Yeah, it pulls Lowen in two different directions.
I bet, yeah.
On one hand, she desperately needs the money,
Of course.
but on the other hand, it feels wrong to profit from Verity's misfortune.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
Ultimately, Lowen accepts the offer and travels to the Crawford family home in Vermont.
Okay.
It's described as a grand, luxurious house.
All right, nice.
But there's also an unsettling atmosphere that hangs over it.
Interesting.
So the house itself almost becomes a character in the story.
It does, yeah.
Hoover uses vivid imagery to create this feeling of unease.
Yeah.
It's luxurious, yes, but there's also a sense of isolation and secrets lurking beneath the surface.
Oh, I see.
Lowen meets Jeremy and their young son, Crew,
Okay.
who's been deeply affected by his mother's accident.
Oh, that's so sad.
There's also a dedicated nurse, April, who's caring for Verity.
Okay.
As Lowen settles in and begins working on the series, she stumbles upon something that changes everything.
Ooh, what is it?
Verity's autobiography.
Oh, wow. Okay.
It's not just any autobiography either.
I see. Yeah.
This manuscript is filled with disturbing confessions about Verity's past.
Oh, no.
It reveals her true feelings about her marriage, her resentment towards her children,
Oh, wow.
and a chilling secret about the death of one of her twin daughters.
Oh, my gosh.
Talk about a shocking discovery. It makes you question everything you thought you knew about Verity.
Yeah, absolutely.
As Lowen reads through the manuscript, she becomes increasingly disturbed by what she learns.
Yeah, I can only imagine.
At the same time, she finds herself drawn to Jeremy.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
And their shared grief begins to evolve into something more.
Ooh, so there's like a romance element too.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
The tension between Lowen and Jeremy is palpable.
Yeah, I can see that.
They're both grieving, both vulnerable,
Right.
and there's this undeniable attraction between them.
Of course.
It creates this complicated dynamic,
Right.
especially with Verity's true state still shrouded in mystery.
Yeah, there's a lot of unknowns at this point.
Right. And as we delve deeper into Verity's autobiography, we get her version of events.
Okay.
She describes feeling trapped by motherhood and resenting her children for taking Jeremy's attention away from her.
Oh, wow.
Her confessions are chilling, particularly the one where she admits to causing the death of one of her twin daughters, Harper.
That's awful.
This confession is a turning point in the story.
It is, yeah.
It forces the reader, and Lowen, to confront the darkness at the heart of Verity's character.
Right.
Her actions, as she describes them, are truly horrifying.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes you wonder if she's a reliable narrator or she's manipulating the truth even in her own confessions.
That's a great question.
There's this constant sense of unease as you try to figure out what's real and what's
This
fabricated.
makes you question everything, doesn't it?
Then there's Loman sleepwalking, which adds another layer of uncertainty to the story.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yes. There's a particularly tense scene where Lowen sleepwalks into Verity's room and thinks she sees a knife.
Oh, gosh.
It raises even more questions about Verity's true condition.
Right.
Is she as incapacitated as everyone believes, or is she faking it?
That's a good point.
It's a clever way to keep the reader on edge,
It is, yeah.
constantly questioning what's real and what's not.
Yeah.
Lowen's fear and confusion are palpable as she tries to make sense of everything.
Absolutely. I bet it's just a constant state of anxiety.
Right, and just when you think you can't get any more intense, Lowen finds even more incriminating evidence in Verity's manuscript.
Oh, really? What is it?
A detailed plan outlining how she intends to kill Lowen.
Oh, my gosh.
It's a shocking revelation that confirms Lowen's worst fears.
Yeah.
She becomes convinced that Verity is faking her injuries
Yeah.
and is a danger to both her and Jeremy.
It's getting really scary now.
Driven by fear and a desire to protect Jeremy, Lowen decides to confront Verity. She believes that if she can expose Verity's lies, she can save herself and Jeremy from harm.
That makes sense. Yeah.
But the confrontation doesn't go as planned. Jeremy walks in at the worst possible moment, misinterprets the situation, and ends up causing Verity's death.
Oh, no.
It's a tragic culmination of events filled with misunderstanding and miscommunication.
It's awful.
The irony is almost unbearable. Verity, who meticulously planned and manipulated so many events, dies in a situation fueled by fear and confusion.
Yeah, that's just heartbreaking.
It's just heartbreaking, Verity's death, although accidental leaves so many unanswered questions.
I know, right?
Was she truly the villain she portrayed herself to be in her autobiography, or was there more to the story?
That's the brilliance of Hoover's writing. You know, she doesn't give us easy answers. We're left to ponder the complexities of Verity's character and the truth behind her confessions.
Right, like how much of what she wrote was genuine and how much was manipulation. It's like trying to solve a puzzle with missing pieces.
Exactly, and that's what makes Verity such a compelling read. Even after finishing the book, you're still left grappling with these questions, trying to make sense of it all.
Okay, so let's rewind a bit and talk about Lowen and Jeremy's relationship. It starts with this shared grief over Verity, but it quickly evolves into something deeper.
It's a tricky situation. You know, they're both vulnerable, drawn to each other for comfort and support, but there's always this underlying tension because of Verity. It's like they're walking on eggshells, afraid to cross a line.
Especially Lowen.
Oh.
She's aware of the ethical implications of getting involved with Jeremy while still working on Verity's books, and she's also struggling with the revelations about Verity's past and her own growing feelings for Jeremy.
Her internal conflict is so well portrayed in the book. She's torn between her desire for Jeremy and her sense of responsibility both to him and to Verity's legacy.
And it doesn't help that Lowen is constantly surrounded by reminders of Verity. Her house, her belongings, her manuscripts. It's like Verity's presence is still looming over them even in death.
Absolutely, and that feeling of unease intensifies. As Lowen discovers more about Verity's past, we see flashbacks to Verity's life before the accident, her whirlwind romance with Jeremy, and the birth of their twin daughters.
It's like peeling back layers of an onion, each layer revealing something darker and more disturbing about Verity's character. We learn about her controlling nature, her resentment toward motherhood, and the events that led to Harper's death.
Those flashbacks are so cleverly woven into the present-day narrative. They give us glimpses into Verity's psyche, helping us understand how she became the person she was. But it also makes you question whether she's a reliable narrator.
Right. It's like trying to piece together a broken mirror. You get fragments of the truth, but you can never see the whole picture clearly. And then there's the ending, which is just wow.
The ending is definitely a shocker after Verity's death. Lowen and Jeremy end up together raising Crew and expecting their own child. It's a bittersweet resolution tinged with sadness and uncertainty.
It makes you wonder if they can ever truly escape the shadow of Verity, especially with the lingering doubts about her true intentions. Did she manipulate everyone, even in death, or was she a victim of her own demons?
That's the question that lingers long after you finish the book. It's a testament to Hoover's skill as a writer that she can create a story that's both gripping and thought-provoking.
It's a book that stays with you, that makes you question everything you thought you knew about love truth and the complexities of human nature.
And it reminds us that sometimes the most disturbing monsters are the ones we create ourselves.
So we've talked about the plot, the characters, and the overall impact of the book. Now I want to talk about some of the key themes that run through Verity. One that really stands out is the theme of control.
Absolutely. Verity's desire for control permeates every aspect of her life, her writing, her marriage, her children. It's almost like she needs to be in control of every situation, every outcome.
It's a driving force behind her actions, and it ultimately leads to her downfall. But it's not just Verity who craves control. Lowen also struggles with it, especially as she becomes more involved with Jeremy and crew.
It's a subtle but important parallel between the two characters. They both have their own ways of trying to control their lives, and those desires often clash, creating tension and conflict.
Right, and then there's the theme of ambition. Both Verity and Lowen are ambitious writers, driven to succeed in a competitive field, but their ambition manifests in different ways.
Verity's ambition is fueled by a desire for fame, recognition, and financial success. She's willing to do whatever it takes to achieve her goals, even if it means compromising her ethics or hurting those around her.
Whereas Lowen's ambition is more about finding her voice, proving her worth, and achieving creative fulfillment. She wants success, but not at the cost of her integrity.
That contrast is really interesting. It highlights the different ways ambition can shape a person's choices and actions. It also raises questions about the price of success and the sacrifices we're willing to make to achieve our dreams.
And then, of course, there's the theme of truth. It's at the heart of the entire story. Throughout the book, we're constantly questioning what's real and what's fabricated, who's telling the truth, and who's manipulating the narrative to suit their own needs.
It's like we're walking through a hall of mirrors, never quite sure which reflection is the true one, and that ambiguity is one of the things that makes Verity so captivating. It keeps us on the edge of our seats, guessing until the very end.
It also makes us think about the nature of truth itself. Is there such a thing as absolute truth, or is it always subjective, filtered through our own experiences and biases?
That's a deep question, and one that Verity doesn't shy away from exploring it. It challenges us to consider multiple perspectives, to acknowledge the unreliable nature of memory, and to accept that sometimes the truth can be elusive and ambiguous.
It's like trying to grasp at smoke. You know,
Yeah,
you think you have it, but it slips through your fingers.
it does.
What about the use of dual narratives? We get Lowen's present-day perspective and Verity's voice through her autobiography.
Yeah.
Did you find that effective?
Absolutely. It's a brilliant technique that adds so much depth and complexity to the story. We see the events unfolding through Lowen's eyes, experiencing her fear, confusion, and growing attraction to Jeremy, but then we also get Verity's version of events, which is often contradictory and unsettling.
It creates this constant tension, like a tug of war between two unreliable narrators. You're never quite sure who to believe, and that makes it impossible to put the book down.
Exactly right. It's like Hoover is playing with our minds, forcing us to question everything we're reading, and it also highlights the subjective nature of truth. Both Lowen and Verity have their own versions of reality shaped by their experiences, their biases, and their desires.
And that's what makes the story so compelling. It's not just a thriller. It's a psychological puzzle that we're trying to solve alongside Lowen. What stood out to you about Lowen's character?
She's such a fascinating character. On one hand, she's a bit of a loner, struggling with her own demons. On the other hand, she's incredibly strong and resourceful, able to navigate this twisted situation and uncover the truth.
I agree she's not a perfect heroine, but she's relatable. She makes mistakes. She gets scared, but she never gives up. And her relationship with Jeremy is so complex.
Yeah,
It starts with this shared grief, but quickly evolves into something more.
it's a dangerous line they're walking, especially with so much uncertainty surrounding Verity's condition, and Lowen is torn between her attraction to Jeremy and her sense of responsibility.
I felt like her internal conflict was so authentic. She wants to be with Jeremy, but she's also aware of the potential consequences.
Right.
It's a moral dilemma that adds another layer of depth to the story.
Right.
I have to say, one of the things that really stuck with me were those intimate scenes between Lowen and Jeremy.
Oh, yeah.
They were intense.
Hoover doesn't shy away from depicting their physical and emotional connection, and those scenes add fuel to the fire, increasing the tension and blurring the lines between right and wrong.
It's like watching a slow motion train wreck.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
I know it's a bad idea, but you can't help but be drawn in, and those scenes also raise questions about Lowen's motivations. Is she truly falling for Jeremy, or is she seeking comfort and escape from the nightmare she's living in?
That's a great question, and it's something the reader has to grapple with. Is their connection genuine, or is it a product of the circumstances? It's a gray area that adds to the book's overall complexity.
And then, of course, there's the ending. It's both satisfying and unsettling. Verity is gone, but questions linger.
Exactly. We get a resolution of sorts with Lowen and Jeremy together, but there's still this lingering doubt about Verity's true intentions. Was she manipulating everyone, even in death?
It's almost like Hoover is daring us to question everything, even the ending. And that's what makes Verity such a powerful and memorable read. It stays with you long after you finish the last page.
Absolutely. It's a book that makes you think, that challenges your perceptions of truth and reality, and it's a testament to Hoover's skill as a writer that she can create a story that's both entertaining and thought-provoking.
I completely agree. So for anyone who hasn't read Verity, I highly recommend it. Just be prepared for a roller coaster of emotions, a few sleepless nights, and some serious introspection afterwards.
If you're a fan of psychological thrillers, complex characters, and stories that keep you guessing until the very end, Verity is definitely worth adding to your reading list.
And that wraps up our deep dive into Colleen Hoover's Verity. We hope you enjoyed our discussion and gained some new insights into this twisted and compelling tale.
Thanks for joining us on this literary journey. We'd love to hear your thoughts on Verity. Let us know what resonated with you, what surprised you, and what questions you're still pondering.
Thanks for joining us. Subscribe for more bookish adventures and hit that like button if you enjoyed the ride. Don't forget to share the knowledge. Spread the word.